I am saying that if that's in your past, or even if it's in your present, God does not rank sin. That there is still forgiveness. There's forgiveness for someone who's been there, as much as there was forgiveness for me when I realized I left my notes at home and I sped at 70 miles an hour down Snowden River Parkway. Yeah, I was wrong. We cannot rank sin. We can't rank sin. But here's something. I want you guys to know what God says about all of us, because this is important. This is important. What God says about all of us. And the key word here is all. What God says about each and every one of us. And this is not just what God says about Christ followers. This is not what he says about Christians. This is not what he says about those who say they love him. This is what he says about all people. This is what he says about all people. Isaiah 29:1. He says he knew you before you were born. Isaiah 49, and 1. Before I was born, the Lord called me. From my birth, he has made mention of my name. He knew you from the start. He knew each of us from our beginning, from our core. From before we were conceived, he knew us. He called us by name. Each and every one of us. That's the first thing. The second thing comes from 1 John 4:8. Whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. Here's what he says about all of us. He says, whoever does not love. It doesn't matter whether you're Christian or not. If you can't love, you don't know God. If you consider yourself to be a follower of Christ, and yet have no love, you do not know God. You do not know him. Because God is love. And love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not seek its own. Love does not hold a grudge. Love does not see the speck in your eye and ignore the boulder in mine. You know, a few months ago, we did a series called Monsters, and one of the weeks of Monsters, we talked about guilt, and during that, one of the phrases that we used that week was, the guilty leverage guilt. Jesus never leveraged guilt. You can never find anywhere in Scripture that Jesus is guilting someone into something. Never. But we leverage guilt against other people. And